Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new video, and welcome to Moscow. Now today I'm doing a kind of video by request, because lots and lots of subscribers and channel members and people that are from the Telegram group have told me to come and check out the Big Circle line. So here I am. I'm at one of the first newly reopened stations, and we're going to go check out as many as we can today in this one video. Now I'm going to start off the tour here at Vasheyevskaya metro station. Now I'm going to only really concentrate on the 9 new stations that have opened. There's obviously a lot to see in one video, and the way I film my videos, it's going to be nearly impossible to kind of give you an overview of this whole metro line, but we're going to head on inside and check out this first station. Now this station isn't brand new. It was actually one of the first stations opened back in 1969, and it closed for the last 3 years for completely being remodeled. Now there won't be too many people here today, although it's Saturday. Some of the stations are going to be crowded and some are going to be empty. So this station literally opened a few days ago. It's now considered the longest circular metro line in the world, which is pretty neat, right? To be right here in Moscow. And first we've got to navigate our way down this tunnel to find our way to the entrance to the actual platform. Now there is a lot of signage in Russian, which of course I can't read very well, but from the 1st to the 5th of March, the Big Circle line is free. So you can literally just go on for free and then make your change to another metro line and continue your day. Now this blue and red kind of color here looks like Pepsi. It's not Pepsi. It actually is meant to look like the actual line itself, but they've kind of used a little bit of poetic license and created 2 hearts, because there's actually 2 circle lines which now dissect. So they've kind of used that as branding for the stations and the line as well. Now all over the Moscow metro there's these big maps, and these basically point out all of the different lines that you can catch. Now we're right the way down here. Now if you can just see this kind of blue circle that goes around right here, this is the Big Circle line, and we're going to concentrate ourselves on this lower part and then up here a little bit, which is where these 9 new stations have basically closed the loop of the line as it's been built over the last lot of years. So being that it's free, all the gates are open. So we just literally walk through and we can get on. Well, we can go down to the platform at least. And this one's actually got steps going down, and then there's escalators going up. So there's a bit of a mix at any metro station you go to, depending on generally how busy the stations are. So let's walk on down. So part of making the video, I'm just going to point out a few minutes of each station, especially of these 9 that I'm going to show you, and show you if I can find a feature that might be unique that you may have never seen before. Now, depending on the station that you catch the Moscow Metro at, they've got these time boards right here. So this tells you the next train is coming in 17 seconds. And if I turn around, there we go! And they've even got the advertising on the side. These are specifically only for this route. And exactly on time it pulls up to the station. Check that out. Now, being that it's a Saturday, there's not as many trains on the Big Circle line as there would be Monday to Friday. So we've got to wait a whole 3 minutes for the next metro. Where in the world are you waiting 3 minutes for another train? Now, very typically, if you're on the main lines during the week, the wait time's between about 70 and 90 seconds. Now, this is kind of interesting, this little booth right here. Now, it kind of looks like it's a room, it looks like it might be an elevator, but it's basically just a confined space. Now, this is actually open as well. Now, there's literally nothing in here, right? Literally, except glass windows. And there's big air conditioning duct right here. Now, in the event of a fire, and of course everyone would need to clear the station and get to the exits, this particular place right here is for anybody that's maybe got special needs, or they can't make their way up the escalator or the elevator, and they can't get out of here in the event of a fire or some kind of an emergency. And this is basically a fire-safe room. It's got air conditioning to basically evacuate the air or let the air circulate. But have anyone seen this anywhere else in the world? On train station lines, on metro lines? I think this might only be in Russia. Now, seeing as the train here has stopped at the station where we're continuing the video, we're the first people on. And I thought I'd have a walk through while it's got no people, because it's much easier. Now, the one thing that's very cool is between all of the seats is USB charging stations. So it's pretty cool. You can charge your phone or whatever device you have. Maybe you're on the line for a few minutes, maybe you're on for 10 minutes, but it's very nice. They also have these screens here. These are the small screens by the door. And then over here is the main board here, which is showing you the next stations as we're going to go along. So it's obviously incredibly loud when the other train is here. And then when the train leaves, it goes a little bit quieter. So now they've also got these interactive boards as well. So you can actually see here you can punch actually where you want to go. More charging stations. And if you don't want to stand up, there's a little resting pad right here, which is kind of neat. But we'll just walk a little bit further down. And of course, while there's nobody on, it's perfect to film until someone tells me off. And off we go. It's kind of, we're only gonna go to the next station, so it's kind of nice. We can get a free train. On this board as well, there's another interesting thing. It even tells you which car you're in. So we're in car 3. So it tells you if you're at the front or the back. And it also tells you the next station and what exits if you want to go out of the next station, of course. So exit 1 and 2, exit 3 and 4. So a lot of times when you're coming to a metro station or you're using Yandex Maps or Google Maps, it tells you which exit to come out of so that you come out at the right street level. All right, so we've made it to the next station, Kashirskaya. Now there's another one of these glass boxes right here. Now this is very similar to the one we saw at the other station, but I bet everybody here is confused. What is this glass box for? Are they going to have a shop? Are they going to have somebody selling drinks or pizza? Maybe some borscht soup? Who knows? But how interesting. Right in the middle of the platform too. It's not even kind of hidden off to one side, but literally it's a fire-safe room that we can go inside. And then we can see here again what time the next train is. We've only got to wait 1 minute and 3 seconds for the next train. But the idea is you'd come in here, close the door, and you're completely protected against smoke and any kind of fire. And built into the ceiling is incredibly strong fans, which is designed to extract the smoke and create ventilation and air conditioning in here separate from the whole platform and the station. Now, of course, each station is slightly different. Now, some of them are going to look more modern. And of course, this is a new line. It's been in construction for the last few years. So not all of them are going to be beautiful like the original lines are in the center of Moscow. But you can see here these pillars. Of course, when the train arrives, everybody getting on and off. A lot of people have never been to this station before as well, so a lot of people are kind of looking around which way is the entrance and exit. And we can see there while the train's here, the next one's 3 minutes away, so very interesting. It's kind of, I wonder if there's a lot of like train spotters or train buffs who are here today. Being that it's a Saturday, everybody's kind of curious about the new stations that have opened, and also where are the streets that it's leading to. Now just going to walk outside of Kashirskaya metro station. It's kind of interesting just to see the different ways to get in and out here. So you've got obviously the escalator to go up. There is the main steps which most people are coming down on. And this middle one here is not for skateboards. This is if you've got a pram or some sort of a push chair. Now it's incredibly steep, but they're designed so that parents with prams can basically navigate the steps. Now, I always kind of laugh at these a little bit. Obviously, I don't have kids and babies, but they're obviously a necessity for the parents to get up and down, but they're just incredibly steep, and there's not a lot parents can do to use these, but you know, you've got to brave them. Not all of the metro stations have escalators, so you just have to kind of figure it out as we come up to the lobby right here. Yeah, it kind of looks like fun going down, right? But if you've got a baby, you've got your shopping, you've got all of the necessities for the day, these can be very, very steep to navigate. So in the lobby of this big circle line, there's actually other metro lines that you can go on. Now, of course, it's free today, or free for 5 days. You know, there's obviously a bit of confusion by some people because they're trying to pay, they're trying to use their card, but all of the gates are basically open so that everybody in Moscow and all of Russia, if you come to Moscow, of course, you can come and test out the big circle line and see, you know, all the new stations like we are. So that's why you don't see any of the card readers here illuminated. They're all basically just set to green, so walk on through. So I've come out here at Kashirskaya metro station out to the streets, and it started snowing. Yes, there was actually a little bit of a prediction of snow later on today, but depends on which part of Moscow region you're in. It might start a little bit earlier, but snowing. So this particular station as well was part of the original 3-station line that was from back in 1969. This was closed for the last 3 years, and finally it's reopened. So everybody that lives nearby are probably super happy. You know, there isn't too much housing exactly near the station, but I'm sure in this sort of district and region, people are super happy now. The one thing that I was a bit confronted with when I came out was a big shopping center right here. Perikostok, Fash, and Kuzny Itochka. Now, I'm not going to make that in the video today, of course. I want to go see the stations. I want to feel the snow falling on me. And we're going to go check out another station. Now, I haven't been to any of these stations before. Obviously, a lot of them were not open for a lot of years. And of course, the new stations. So I don't even know this region of Moscow coming outside of the stations here. It's all kind of new to me and new areas, but seems to be plenty of people around here for a Saturday afternoon. There's also plenty of signage around too, letting people know about the bus routes nearby and then how to get to the metro. Obviously, if you're from this area, you'd know where it is. It's right in front of us here. But, you know, if people come to this area for the first time, you know, it's sometimes not easy to kind of find certain buildings or landmarks, but this kind of little park here is very nice. There's a lot of bus stops around, so this is well connected to this region. There's bus stops on all sides of the entrance of the station. So the snow is very nice, by the way. It's not cold today either. It's about only 0 or -1 degree, so it's good weather to come for a walk. Lots of people waiting for buses. Most people will come to or from the metro and then connect to a more local bus to where they live or their region. Again, more signage right here. This is again the big metro map. And then, of course, while these stations were under remodeling, there was the need to basically take other routes. So these also suggested the other routes that you could take, or whatever buses would pass by the lines where we're connecting here. So yeah, let's go and check out another station. So Kashirskaya is actually connected by the green line and then now the big circle line. So this station already was here, but the actual big circle line only opened a few days ago. So let's get on down to the platform. So we're at our first of the brand new stations. This is Klenivoy Boulevard or Maple Boulevard. I wonder if there's any maple trees outside. And you can actually tell it's new. It just smells new. You can still smell the cement, the tiles, the bricks. It's not like any of the other stations that you'd come to in Moscow. I'm sure I'm going to experience that a lot on the next few lines. So yeah, you can smell how new it is. And this is an interesting station too, because the 2 tracks are in the middle and the platforms are on either side. We'll see that in a second. And interestingly, instead of normal seats, they've got these big stones right here. Man, these are they river stones from the Moscow River? Now, I want to just point out here, so you can see the actual metro train on the other side of the same station. So it's actually split down the middle, so it's one single line, if you like, and typically you'd actually have the station with the trains on either side. I hope this is making sense, but you can actually see it on this far side here. So you can see all the workings of the train, and yeah, it's very interesting. The next one's coming here in a minute, as the other one just leaves on the opposite side. Now, on quite a few of the different websites that I read before coming today to do a bit of a walk around, there's little quirks of every station, and here's one of them where there's these 4 doors. Like, why didn't they just build one door? But instead they got 4 separate doors all in a row. So as the train pulls up here, the one thing is, a lot of times you might get on and off the wrong station, so you want to run between tracks to get on the train going the other side, but now you've got to go up and over and down. Now, as this one just arrived, the next one's only about a minute and a half away. So you kind of, the train is still at the platform, and the next one's coming in 83 seconds. It's just crazy to think that. And it seems like at some of the stations too, they don't have all of the signage in English. Pretty much most of the Moscow metro stations have English and Russian. But this one, it's Russian only. So hopefully I didn't need to come here and figure out where I'm going, or I'll be slightly lost. And then coming up to the top of the escalators here, check out the ceiling with all the lights. This guy who's going to replace the lights is going to have a nightmare of a time. I wonder if they're LEDs. But how cool is this? This is like a kind of a nighttime feel as you're coming into the station. And you can see here the barriers between the entrance going down and the exit coming up. They're very well separated, but of course, again, we know it's all free. This is the exit, of course. You just walk on out, but we're going to go and check out outside. Now, as I come up to the street level of the station here, Klenvoy Boulevard, it's very interesting because there's meant to be 3 exits, all right? So exit 1 and 2, it says right here. And if you spin around, this exit 1 and 2 are basically not here. They're here, but they're not finished. So they've actually just put these kind of, what will be the exit eventually, kind of posters up. So a lot of people are walking down here thinking this is the exit, right? Because on the map it's already updated, but it's coming soon. So a lot of people end up using this station here as a point to walk to Kolomysko Park right here and the Moscow River. So it's kind of pointing to this direction here. It's got the green sticker on it, but the exit's not there. So, I mean, it's not really that out of your way to get in and out of these other entrances and exits here. This is the number 3 here, but the 1 and 2 is kind of not in operation yet. So it's not really a big problem, but I just find it kind of interesting and quirky. I notice there's a lot of people coming to look and take photos. This lobby area is very, very nice. I like it anyway. I mean, although this is just the undercroft walking to the entrance and going down to the station, but I mean, how much work did they put into this? Just looking back again, I really like this. I just find it fun that everybody's kind of coming to look at the new stations. A lot of people, obviously being Saturday, took the time out to come and ride the whole big circle line, and everybody's sort of thinking that these might be open, but they're just posters of what the future exit would be, and lots of people are taking photos of them. These were actually in the news as well at the time, because not every station was 100% completed prior to opening a few days ago. So just coming out of Klenvoy Boulevard here. Now this, of course, is brand new, so nobody has seen this before 3 or 4 days ago. Of course, if you live in this area, you'd know it, but I think everybody here is just coming to check out the station, ride each station and stop, and then come outside exactly like I have and to figure out what's going on here. And they've got this huge turnaround here. I'd imagine at some point they're going to build some bus stands and bus stops here. There's this big roundabout right here, which is a perfect turning loop for the big buses. And imagine if you lived right here and they suddenly open a metro station right across from your house. How perfect is that? A couple of minutes walk, you can see all of the apartments here off in the distance. And you get such a bonus, the fact that your house now is practically next to a station. So it's probably gone up a few million rubles in price as well. And then I guess the main reason people are taking this stop is to go to the park right ahead of us. You can see the old wooden church just off in the distance. Of course, they're still doing some work here, but you know what I mean? It's considered one of the largest engineering projects in the world in the last sort of 5 or 10 years to complete this. So, you know, it's not expected everywhere is finished perfectly on the day they're opening. So we see some of the workers coming out of their huts over here. Obviously, there's still work going on. It doesn't stop because it's Saturday in Russia. That's just another day of the week, but a lot of people walking down to the park here, which is super nice because it's just that much closer now from this metro station. And then as we come around here, we can see the main part of the station. Generally, the stations on the street level are not always beautiful, you know what I mean? They're just boxes with some steps or escalators, but you know, it kind of fits in with the environment. They've done all the work on the paving here as well, so they've basically future-proof this ahead of, I would imagine a bus station is going to be right here, and then you can then connect then to the local region nearby. So some of the guys here going to and from work. But здравствуйте. So yeah, let's get on back inside. So as we walk in, one interesting kind of feature here is this kind of curved roof here. From the outside it looked like a box, but inside it's kind of got this nice sort of ornate feature rather than just that classic box look as we head on downstairs. Now the metro in Russia doesn't run 24 hours, but 5:30 a.m. till 1 a.m. And then there's obviously a first and last train you can catch. And then generally on holidays like Christmas, New Year, they do open them overnight so people can get home from events, parties, festivities, but plenty of opening hours. Then coming into the area where you basically can pay for tickets, you got the machines right here, and then of course you just pass through the metal detectors and then into the station. Now my last bit of information about this station is kind of about all of the stations. They've introduced 5G internet. Now actually in the stations you can get Wi-Fi for free. You can basically just find the free network, connect to it. It's pretty straightforward, but this is the first network or first rail network in Russia to have 5G connectivity. So as the train pulls away, this is Nagazitsky Zatron. Now, I'm going to get this wrong. I'm sorry, everybody, if you're from Russia. This is another station where they've got the tracks in the middle and then the cars on either side. Now, this is by far, I think, the most photographed station by a long, long way because of these fish. Check out the fish right here. Now, there's some secrets in these fish. Now, I hope I can find them. Now, there's one down here where they've got little different symbols as the other train pulls away. So whoever did these mosaics, my gosh, it really echoes. Now whoever did the mosaics have basically used different tiles through the whole building of it, but they put little hidden, what's called Easter eggs. So there'll be some Easter eggs somewhere in these fish. Let's see if we can find them. I think everybody's here just to see the fish. Check it out on the other side. There's a huge one. I think we'll actually have to go look around both sides. Let's see if we can see any Easter eggs in this one. Now looking for these Easter eggs. Easter eggs are hidden objects within an object, if that makes sense. If anyone's ever heard of the word Easter egg. Now this one has some marbles right here built into it. So instead of the kind of classic stones or tiles, there's some marbles. It's very hard to find these hidden objects. Oh, there's a pearl and a shell up there. Can you see this one? That's kind of interesting. All right, so now that the trains have left both sides of the station, pretty much everybody that's still here are really coming to see the stations, really to take photos, check out the fish. This whole station, normally the line at the station would be cleared if you go to any other metro station in Moscow today. But everybody's coming to check it out and have a look at these fish. You know, I mean, mosaics are all over Russia, of course, but we want to see something different and new. And I found some more shells right here, hidden in this big fish. So there's just a few of them kind of hidden in this one. It's very hard to find them. I heard about this before I got here today, but would I find them myself? No, that's just another piece of mosaic or tile, but this is very cool. Now, the other thing about this station, other than fish, is it's the only station on the whole line with only one exit. So you can't get lost here. There's only one entrance and one exit from the whole station. And there's some more fish. Fish everywhere. I think they're going to open a fish restaurant somewhere nearby and they're going to make thousands. I think. Maybe they won't, but very interesting. The only station on the Moscow Metro with one exit. I wonder if anybody knows that as a point of interest. Everybody's stopping for more photos. Let's have a look at what's going on. Now I realize why everybody stopped. They're checking out the ceiling here, and it's got the scales of a fish, which is obviously a big part of the whole station. And this guy's found a nice balcony here to kind of look at everybody coming and going. But how neat is this? So coming out of the station here, of course they're doing a lot of work nearby. There's a lot of new buildings, a lot of more modern looking kind of these mid-level kind of buildings here. They're only, 15, 20 stories high. And then this big kind of open area here. They really have overbuilt a lot of these stations. I guess they're future-proofing them. I'm not sure. This big, huge kind of open area for a one entrance and exit station. And again, if you live right here, what a bonus that they've opened a station right where you live as the snow keeps falling. Very nice today. It's not cold at all. You'll see everybody still with big jackets on like I'm wearing, but it's very nice. Now from here, you can actually walk down to the river, and it is literally, a few hundred meters, maybe a 5-minute walk. So I guess that's kind of the big draw to this station, that you're so close to the river. There's a very nice embankment that you can walk along nearby here as well. But I love this station for all of the fish. Now I do realize this video is going to go on a little bit long. I'm very sorry. This is a heavily requested video for me to come and see these new stations and kind of show what I see and what I think of them. So if you're here already in this middle part of the video, thank you very much for watching. And if you've clicked away already, you're missing out. So where we were on the outside of the station just now, you can see here, this is where we were standing here. And you can see the river literally comes right around here. So you can actually walk to these parts, and then the park right here. So this kind of peninsula is very well connected now with the one station right here where we are. And then there is a plan that they're going to build a bridge across here. So that's coming soon, I guess. And then even riding down to the platform here, each of the different escalators has different light fixtures. So here they've got kind of balls. I think these reference fish eggs, but don't keep me to that. But I think based on the whole design of the station, I think that's kind of what they were going for. So if you're curious about how many people want to come to this station and check out the fish, have a look at everybody here with their cameras and having a look. Now, this is the secret that I was looking for all of the fish. Have a look right up here. It's very hard to make out, but this one right here is Jägermeister. Now, what is a German bottle of beer doing in a Russian metro station? How interesting. Jägermeister right there. So just looking at the two platforms here, it's just interesting how many people have come to check out the fish. and the fish. So all the fish that are on the walls here are fish that could be found or caught here in the Moscow River nearby. Now, I'm pretty sure if you caught this one, you'd be a hero of Russia. Because look how big this fish would be. I don't think this is probably about, you know, 1/5 scale, but everybody's checking out. I wonder if the mosaic artists drank Jägermeister. I wonder to hide that into this fish, because I think a lot of people here would not even notice that. But luckily, traveling with Russell is doing for you. Everybody's off to the next station now. And I've got 1 minute and 2 seconds till my train comes. And I spotted another one right here. Check that out. There's a coin built right into the mosaic here on one side. That's another Easter egg for you. All right, and welcome to Pechetniki station. I've got that completely wrong, I think, but have a look how big it is. It's so huge. It's like 2-level station. It's amazing. Wow. And now the interesting thing with this is we walk just a little bit further along the platform to the very sort of front of where the train would pull up. You can actually see the tunnel, or you can just see it. It's a bit hard to see from here, but let's get a tiny bit closer. We can see a little bit of the workings of the metro. Now, very typically, most of the Moscow metro stations have the middle island as the platform, and then you can literally cross between the trains if you like. This is the readout here for the driver. He knows the distance between the trains, also the front and rear cameras, and he's also got a mirror if the TV fails. But check that out. You can see the double track going all the way through there. And as we swing around here, again, you can see all the workings of the station. This is very neat. So one of the trains is just about to leave, and we can see the driver here checking all the doors are closed. He can check his cameras. I can see myself in the camera as it goes off. Oh, wow. That's very cool. Wow. Very, very close. Where's the end? Where's the end? There it goes. Through the tunnel. Now, I've never really considered myself a bit of a train buff, maybe until today. Honestly, living here in Moscow, you kind of ride the metro, you get to where you need to go to, and you head on home or you head on to your destination. And you never really pay attention to the stations like I'm doing today. So it's very interesting to sort of see these little tidbits of the station. As the next train leaves right behind me, I'm trying to film when there's no trains, but there's a lot of trains. Have a look here again. 5 doors. Where are they going to? I don't know. Maybe they're secret doors into the metro somewhere. These 5 different doors all in a row. This is very interesting to see. Why do we need 5 doors? Someone tell me in the comments. Now, this is kind of unique, and this might be the only station in all of the Moscow metro that's got 5 escalators. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, because this guy right here can't see all of the escalators, because there's kind of a big structure right here, they've had to build a separate security booth. So it's the only station on the Moscow network that's got 5 escalators. Now that might seem a little bit strange, but you know, if you've ridden these all your life and you're from Russia, you'll kind of wonder, I've never thought about that. Now, as I try to find my way out of this metro station, I need somebody who's probably from Russia or from Moscow can tell me what these kind of perforated lines are on the floor here. They're not on any other part of the station, but the only thing I can figure out is that it's a way in the dark that would lead you to the exits. But there has to be some kind of an understanding of why they're here, because, maybe when there's a blackout, we just follow these dotted lines and we can find our way out. And we can see on the escalators on this station, they've got kind of like poles for lights. So each of the different stations on the whole big circle line has a different theme, even for the escalators. How cool is that? Well, I think it's cool. Now, I've just walked out of Pechenitsky metro station, and this is actually a station that intersects another metro line. And then also there is 2 other train lines that pass through here. Now, it's near impossible to kind of point that out, but if you look out the window beyond the snow, you can see this huge bridge that's been built, which is allowing the station to be split here, and then the trains to go either side of this line. Now, these steel structures are not small. Actually, even the lobby to this train station is not small either. But I hope we can get a bit of a walk across the bridge and you get an idea of the amount of construction going on, because it is unbelievable. So the main intersecting train line here is the D2, which is part of a new network of trains that have been introduced in Moscow in the last 5 or 6 years or so. And where I live, at Prelivka, we're going to have MCD4 when it eventually gets connected up. But you can see here the train line on this side. You can see all of the platforms over here. And then over on this side, you can see again the other intersecting train line that goes the other way. This one isn't quite finished. They're still building this over here as well. But these huge walkways over the main roads here, it's just hard to kind of put into kind of a scope of how big this is in terms of the whole network of rail within the Moscow region. And as the train pulls away, welcome to Tekstolichki metro station, like textiles, something to do with fabrics. That's the best way I can describe it. Tekstolichki. And another station where they've got the middle island here, separated there with the trains on the other side. If we just spin around, we'll see the other train coming. And the one I've just got off, the gap is around about 2 minutes between the stations, or between the trains. So this is Tekstolichki. And have a look at the LED. How cool is that? Now again, we're probably seeing a slightly different theme to each of the stations. So to see these kind of LED lights, it's just a little bit different, right? I think so. And then have a look at the ceiling here with these big kind of archways. I wonder what the reference is of those. Tekstolichki metro station. So this station also is very well connected with other trains as well. So again, you can see here the D2 line right over here. You can also walk over to the purple line 7 as well. So there's plenty of places, and also 9 exits. So you've got 9 chances of finding your way out of here. Now this is the escalators that we're mostly used to on a lot of the stations. So we've got the guy down here making sure everybody's safe. And then there's the 3 different escalators. Wow, how new and fancy these look. And have a look at the lights here as well. These are a little bit different again. I wonder, do they look like needles and thread to you? Let me know what you think. Now, the reason there's 3 is typically in rush hour they'll have 2 going down or 2 going up, so morning and afternoon. But they look also a little bit like, I don't know, I guess needles and thread. I think that's the best way I can describe them. And they're just coming up to the street level here. Of course, the escalators don't always run right to the top, but I'm right over the heating elements. Oh, these are very nice. Oh, they've got like heating elements to pass through as you come into the station here, but everybody going up and down. This is very normal. The last stage is normally a few steps to the exit. And again, you can see these ramps here that are provided for the chairs and for the parents with children. Let's head on outside for a second. Now, coming outside at Tekstolichki station here, I was hoping for a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more. But there's a lot of construction going on. Again, this huge engineering here. I think this is actually a road overpass. Looks like what they're building. yeah, a lot of construction going on around here. Now, they actually have a connecting line here to this station, but you've got to go outside and then inside again, which is not ideal. More than likely they've not built the passageway between the stations yet, but I'm not sure. I was hoping for more interesting views coming out of the station, but just the amount of work though, I mean, this is just staggering to see these huge overpasses being built. But this is Moscow. They're always doing something to improve the road system and the connectivity of the different areas of Moscow region. As we can see, one guy right up the top there, enjoying the view. Now, just getting on and going to the next station here, I just noticed on the sofas, or on the chairs, there's actually the metro logos right here on the pattern. Now, I know in the London Underground, or the tube there, they've also got this, and each of the different lines has a different coloured fabric. But I'm pretty sure for this, it doesn't really reference any of the different colours, but it's kind of interesting just to point that out. So here we are at Sokolniki metro station. Now, the 9 stations that were newly opened that we're kind of covering in this video are not all immediately one after the other. There's basically a batch of 6 of them, and then there's a few stations, and then there's 3 of them, and I'm now at the last 3 stations. So Sokolniki Park is pretty much the main reason that people will use this station. And it's very interesting. There's a lot of very neat pictures or prints here. Firstly showing the metro station, and then I'd imagine maybe people that helped build the metro. They're kind of like retro kind of posters. It's very interesting to see. Lots of people taking photos of them. And then up on the ceiling here, there's actually a huge version of the Moscow metro map, like a very big version, kind of printed on the whole roof. It's pretty hard to kind of make out, but as you kind of spin around here, and you can also see what would be one of the tunnels of the metro here as well. So yeah, Sokolniki Park is a very nice park to walk around summertime, wintertime. As the next train pulls up, we'll see if we can discover a few more things on this station, and we'll head on outside as well. There's a nice picture here of one of the trams, or one of the original Russian trams here, probably that went through Sokolniki Park. They still do, but they're a little bit more modernized now. But each of these different pictures kind of references the area here, or the district where this station is. It's very very nice. It's a little bit more kind of, I don't know what to say. I guess with the pictures and the posters, it's a little bit nicer than the last few stations. Lots of people again stopping for photos and just having a look around. Again, this is a brand new station, so most people probably haven't seen it before today. It's been literally open now. This is, I think, the 4th day it's been open, so very interesting to see everyone just sort of just staring and looking and taking in all the different architecture of the station. Just looking at the map here, which has kind of got the diagram of the station and the platform, you can see how many different bus routes you can get from here. There's even the tram network that you can catch as well, so there's a few trams that run. The very nice modern kind of trams with the heating inside. So yeah, there's plenty of buses and different areas of Moscow region and Moscow you can go to. And also they're also interconnected with the metro as well, so very well access this station. Sokolniki metro station was also the one where the mayor of Moscow was opening this officially a few days ago. There was a huge crowd of people, mostly the workers that built the line or completed the stations were invited. It wasn't really for all the politicians and all the to-do people in the suits. They invited all the workers and their families, and then they had an opening right at this station. Now, this is the bit where I wish I spoke or read Russian. Now, I'm pretty sure this was one of the original documents for the metro here, dated 1931, maybe. I'm I'm not too sure of the date there, but yeah, there's kind of a fairly important poster right here. And then coming up towards the street level here, I can kind of see why they chose this one as the station for the grand opening. Just feels a bit fancier. You know, there's just that one or two little extra things. There's the nice coffee machine, the drinks. This would have been the Pepsi one. And you can actually see the Pepsi right there in the machine. And then actually, Everest is actually the Pepsi products that are essentially relabeled Pepsi. And there's another one over here just with classic candy. And there's even some sandwiches. Get some cold cut sandwiches, chewing gum, candy bars. And this one over here has got all healthy food. Well, reasonably healthy. There's some different nuts, pistachios. There's some kind of fancy drinks. I think I'll just call them fancy drinks, but is there such a thing as a healthy vending machine? Let me know. Now, overall, I really like this video that I'm making. I know it's going to be a long video. I know it's going to be maybe a lot longer than I normally make them, but it's just fun just riding and going to all the different stations. Really, truly, when I catch the metro, I literally get on the station I need to, I get off at the station I need to. I would never look around, I would never look at the signs, never look at the walls and the ceilings. It's kind of interesting to, watch my step, interesting to do that here today. I mean, I'm only visiting 9 stations. The actual entire circle is 31 stations, and it covers 70 kilometers. And if you actually stay on the train and ride the whole line, it takes about 80 minutes from start to finish. So right behind me is actually the entrance to Sokolniki Park, and this is kind of roughly right on top of the metro station right here. There's a few entries on either side of this kind of boulevard. I've been to this area before, so I kind of know it quite well. It's kind of interesting. Some of the stations I've never been to, I don't know the area at all, and then I come here and I feel a little bit more comfortable. I know the kind of nearby kind of roads and things like that. There's also a few hotels here as well. So a lot of tourists would come and stay in this area because it's really quite close to this park. There's also the metro, there's buses, there's also the trams. So there's lots of things you can do nearby and connect into Moscow center itself. Now, it's probably not the most beautiful view here of the traffic lights, but we can see some of the trams coming through. There's a couple over here. There's one in front of us. These are the more modern trams now. They're heated, they're air conditioned. They've got the USB charging points. They've took it to another level, these trams. But there's a very nice, this particular tram area right here takes you right into the park. And it's a very nice sort of trip, even if you're not sort of wanting to go somewhere physically, just to get on it, have a ride around and, you know, feel a little bit of nostalgia going on a Russian tram. Now, the other connecting line with the big circle line that I've been riding here, this is actually the entrance to the other line. And it's just interesting here, there's a lady basketball player. Now, I know in terms of in the last 5 or 10 years, female basketball's come a long way, but to see kind of a statue here in honor of a female basketball player, it's kind of interesting. And then here on the other side is the man's discus thrower showing his might right there. But it's just interesting the difference in the two statues to see the lady basketballer on a statue. So this is metro station Rishskaya. Now this is the second last station of the video. So if you're still watching, thank you. There's a bit of a whistle coming through the tunnel here, which is kind of interesting. Now this is one of the few stations on the big circle line that's got the exposed tunnel here. You can see here on this right hand side, basically it's the connection pieces, I don't know what they're called, that make up the tunnel itself. It's very echoey down here too. I'm at the very end of the platform, but there's only a few of the stations on the whole line that are built like this. Now, there's kind of a few different theories. One, it's obviously cheaper. You don't have to finish the walls. I guess that's the kind of the main one. Or the other thing is you can just sort of say that it's a piece of architecture, you know, to have the exposed tunnel like this, so you can see, you know, what they actually had to dig out to build this thing. And then actually here on the middle island between the two platforms, you can then see the half circles here, which kind of point out the look of the station itself. I don't want to get in the way of this lady's photo, but it's kind of a similar design to the tunnel as it is to these kind of arches. Arches? I think that's the best way to describe it. The other thing that's notable at this station is this video wall or digital wall here. Now, a lot of people probably don't know or what the connection is, but MTC is one of the telephone networks in Russia, and this is one of the few stations on the entire Russian metro network in no matter which city that's got 5G connectivity. Now, there is only 5 stations, but this station actually has 5G internet, and it's completely free. If you don't, okay, most people here would have their phones and it would actually be working, but if you want to connect to Wi-Fi, it's 5G right in this tunnel. So in between the stops here, so there's no train coming either direction. It seems like everybody has come to check out this video wall on the ceiling. It's kind of a curve or a wave, but I'm not sure 100% if everyone realizes the meaning of it, but it's kind of interesting though, just to take a photo of it, I guess. Now, I want to point out one other thing. So they were actually tunneling this station from both directions. So from right in front of me, obviously, and then right behind me over in this direction. So they were tunneling in both directions. And as they were putting the pieces in for the station, can you see here there's a gap here in between these two parts? So they didn't manage to line them up by around about 1 meter. And this is basically a fake piece of the tunnel that got added because they tunneled from both sides, and that's the join right there. Imagine. I wonder how many people know that. And then also in between trains here, when it's a little bit quiet, there's this mystery door on the tracks. Where does that lead to? Is that like the Harry Potter 9 3/4 station? Somebody let me know in the comments, because there's none of these on any other line that I found today. So where does that mystery door go to, and how do you get down there? So as I just head up to the outside of the station here, there's an interesting kind of Rus guard right there. So it's meant to be like a Russell guard. It takes my photo and the door should open, but obviously I don't work here, but Russguard, Russell, come on. How's that? We can actually see each other on the video. And then heading up to the street level of the station here, there's actually a very big escalator. But the lucky last station of the video, we're going to see an even bigger one, an even longer one than this. It's just so nice. It feels like futuristic when you're in these stations, especially if you're used to riding the original lines in Moscow and the ones that go right through the center of Moscow. This obviously goes around the big outside circle of Moscow, so it does feel like you're on a different metro lines than the ones closer to the middle of Moscow. Now, coming out of the metro here, right up this ramp, I just realized where we are. We're right at the place where I filmed the video at the beer shop. It's right across the street. You can just see the red sign over there. So if you haven't seen that video and you're watching this video to this point, I'll put a card for you to check that out. It's the largest beer shop in the world. It's got the largest selection and the most beer taps inside as well. The video is very interesting. And this is Rychki Vokzal, one of the many main train stations in Moscow that kind of link out then to the regional areas. Very beautiful station. There's not many people around. I think most people don't head in this direction, I guess. I don't know, but I imagine this is the guy that maybe the station is named after. He's just got one solemn bust right here. But Yeah, I know the area we are. I've actually come out, I've actually got the other metro line, which is just off in the distance behind this bus. On the other side, there's a sort of small shopping center over there, and that's where I came out to go to the beer shop. So that's interesting that these are now connected together. And all of a sudden you can tell you're back in the normal kind of metro network here. Firstly by these yellow lights, which are very much normal all over Russia, and then all the little shops here. So you can do a bit of underground train station shopping. You can literally buy anything in these shops, clothes, jewelry, phones, perfume, watches. There's a few that have got snacks and food further along, but it's very interesting, that kind of connection between the old metro line here with this yellow lighting, and then how quickly it just becomes modern again with this white lighting. The lobby area of this station is also huge as well. I'm not sure what they're overbuilding it for. I mean, this is a kind of a very old part of Moscow, so there's not really as such new housing getting built nearby, but you know, they kind of just overbuild them, knowing that this is kind of the once forever construction. As we head on back down, and we'll see how deep the station is, hopefully, as we head down the escalator here, and all these kind of circular kind of lights at this station. And this is our final station of the video, so if it's 3 hours long, I'm really sorry. Hopefully it's not. This is Marina Roche metro station, and this is very much I really like this station. I've just walked across the platform, that's all, but it's got these kind of curved, I guess they're tiled, I'm not sure, or is it marble kind of tiles, and it just kind of throws off your kind of thinking of the station a little, because you're expecting this kind of square kind of station, and everything's got that curve to it. So the roof, these kind of pylons or pillars, and then the lights as well. Everything has this circular feel to it. It's very interesting. It's kind of got that kind of, I don't know, like a pottery kind of feel to it. I'm not sure how best to describe it, but I guess from looking at it yourself, these they kind of almost exaggerated the way they kind of curved these, I guess, pylons that hold up the station. I'm sorry, I'm a bit lost for words of how I'm describing it, but it's very, very nice. Walking from the platform up to the street level as well, this circular kind of look continues here with these seats. I mean, they could have just done a normal square one. It could have been much simpler, but they've got these proper curved and polished seats here at the station. I mean, these are quite randomly here in the middle of the corridor, and probably nobody even notices them, but very nice. And here I am. Does the Rus guard recognize me? I don't think so. Now, this isn't just any ordinary escalator. This is now currently the longest escalator in all of Moscow. Now, they did apparently register it with the Guinness Book of World Records, but it seems that there's one somewhere a little bit longer. But from the bottom to the top, 130 meters. Now, it surpasses the record in Moscow, which is 127 meters. So 3 meters difference, and it's got the record. Now, and go. Now, I thought I'd time it to see how long it is to get from the bottom to the top. Now, I won't put you under the pain of that for the video. As we can see there, you can't even see the top of it, it's that far away, but we'll see when we get to the top what time we're looking at. Now, there is actually markers here on the escalator telling you how many meters it is to get to the top. 115, we're almost there. We're just a little bit under 3 minutes. 120, And the final number, 125, should be 127 meters. They've recorded it as 130 right there. Check that out. And right on 3 minutes. And then stepping off the escalator at the top here, this circular kind of look continues. These huge ball bearings are holding up the building, or are they? It's kind of interesting, isn't it, how they've got these wrapped around this whole upstairs area here. Very, very interesting. This is kind of the look of the station, of course. When we get outside, we'll see it a little bit better. And then after stepping outside, apart from the snow still falling, there's some apartment buildings literally across from the station. That's kind of handy if you're going to live here, I guess, but it's, has it spoilt your view a little? I don't know. And everybody's kind of walking around in the snow here. There's another few buildings off in the distance. I've never been to this part of Moscow myself, so this is a big building as well. It's kind of in that final stage. All the concrete's done. It's all now the finishing off. So here we are at the final station of the video. Mariana Rocha. I'm pretty sure I've got her name wrong for the 17th time today, but it's a very cool station. These ball bearings holding up the building, they are holding it up, and everybody's taking a photo in them and taking a selfie. It's very much kind of a thing with the Moscow Metro. It becomes kind of a museum-like kind of thing over the years. You know, this is obviously a lot more modern than some of the older stations in the center, but you know, they've got to kind of create each one's got to have its own kind of style. And again, that kind of circle right there, which is kind of look like two love hearts, but it's kind of the linking of the two circle lines in Moscow. And essentially, after so many years of construction, they closed this loop of the metro line. Okay, everybody, we've come to the end of the video, and if you've got this far, thank you so much for watching such a long video. I'm very curious how long it is when I go to edit it. Hopefully it's not too bad, but it is what it is. This video was intentionally going to show you the 9 new metro stations on the big circle line, the longest circular line in the world. There's quite a lot of world firsts with this metro line here in Moscow. So now I'm not, of course, well up in all the history of what I've seen. I've done a lot of this just by doing a bit of research, of course, but going off my own intuition of what I've seen. So I really hope you've enjoyed it. Thumbs up if you did, thumbs down if you didn't. Post a comment, let me know what you think. I mean, personally, it's been a very fun day. I mean, the weather's not so good now, but it's been an interesting day sort of checking out the different stations. It's, you know, what's my thoughts? I mean, I've been living in Moscow for 9 years now, so this is not new to me, the metro, but the stations, these are all modern, so it's, you know, not everyone's going to be a fan of it. You know, there's going to be a lot of people that have grown up with the original metro, you know, and it's very hard to kind of replicate that look of the stations that are right in the middle of Moscow. But I think a lot of them have done well here with different themes. You know, this last one here with the curved walls and then the ball bearings holding up the building makes it interesting. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to go off and get something to eat now. I've done this whole video continuously. I didn't stop in between, so I really hope you've enjoyed it. Another video for you to watch right after this one as my hand gets shaky. I'm sorry, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to head on home, check out the other video. Bye.